One of the things that moves me closest to a sense of belonging, by which I mean grounded, grafted to that pre-colonial society, is those that old language and those stories. And I think one of the reasons I'm a novelist is I'm trying to find stories into which I can fit better than what is most readily available to me. I think my father just saying Aboriginal descent, that's the best part of you, was as strongly as he could articulate a certain sense of resentment and a mix of pride and shame. So my childhood, that even being of Aboriginal descent, there was a funny mix of pride and shame in with it. A lot of my humble and self-absorbed work has been about trying to fill that silence. What was my father getting at? And what was my family doing, living in an area which for many Aboriginal people was regarded as taboo country? And how did they get by? How they were so resilient and so sort of compassionate, and that not being recognised, wanting to work for a greater sense of community despite those circumstances. Many Southwest Australians speak a vernacular that's informed by, say, Noongar language and its place names. So look at a map, there's all those place names, Yallingup, Pingelly, Ongerup, etc., that all come from Noongar language, despite those efforts at the destruction of that pre-colonial society. And I think within that, to me, it holds the secrets of belonging. I think that's the currency of identity and belonging. Place, the language and the story embedded in place. And one of the things in recent decades, my adult life, is going back into the heart of ancestral country, that killing zone or massacre territory, or that depopulated area, as it says in some government reports, with other people connected to that country through ancestry and with a language that belongs there and with stories that belong there, not only oral histories of colonial times, but those creation stories, and reuniting those things, language, story, reconnecting to a pre-colonial past with a little group of people, a home community. I largely do that through the particular language project, the Wheelaman Noongar Language and Story Project. And I think much of what we do in that project is symbolised with a particular ngama hole, rock water holes. And it symbolises to me a lot of stuff. It symbolises nourishment, access. And one of the elders had left a couple of grinding stones at the bottom of this waterhole one time without telling any of us. And we went back 2 or 3 years later and he said, reach around, there might be something at the bottom of the waterhole. And to pull out those old grinding stones, shaped grinding stones that had been carried up the Phillips River. There was something ceremonial in that. And when I went back there another time just with me and my 2 sons, and said the same thing to them, and they pulled out these ancient grinding stones that would have been carried, who knows how long ago, hundreds of years ago, along this same path that we'd followed. And then to have them put them back in there and cover the slab, take the slab across the waterhole. Those things, for me, it might be a bit glib, there's something really symbolic in that business of reconnection, re-establishing ceremony, people on country. And it was in collaboration, as awkward and uncomfortable as this is, it was in collaboration with the people that have owned, have the title, the paper title to that property. them recognising our little group as owners also, and all of us belonging to that history and that place. It needs to be worked on, of course. It's a little bit innocent in some ways, that narrative. In its essence, there's something to do with how all of us might belong in this place.